The massive research vessel Horizon drifted silently through the dark expanse of space, its sleek titanium hull reflecting distant starlight. Inside the observation deck, Jay Park stood watching the holographic star maps, her fingers tracing potential routes through the Orion sector. At 35, Jay was not your typical space researcher. She had a reputation for unconventional thinking and an almost intuitive approach to exploration that often frustrated her more methodical colleagues. Her team of 5 researchers had been tracking unusual electromagnetic signatures for weeks, and today felt different. "Hyun, run another spectral scan," she called to her assistant, who was busy adjusting complex monitoring equipment. Hyun Kim, a lanky young researcher with sharp eyes and an even sharper mind, nodded and began recalibrating the sensors. The ship's computer hummed softly, processing massive amounts of data every millisecond. Suddenly, a strange pattern emerged on the screen. Geometric shapes that didn't match any known natural formation. The readings were faint but unmistakable. "Something's here," Jay whispered, more to herself than to anyone else. Wu Li, the team's geological expert, zoomed in on the planetary data. The rocky planet below appeared unremarkable at first glance, gray, cratered, seemingly lifeless. But the electromagnetic signatures told a different story. Something was waiting beneath the surface. The team worked with quiet intensity. Years of space exploration had taught them that patience was their greatest tool. Every movement was calculated, every scan meticulously reviewed. They knew one wrong move could mean missing a groundbreaking discovery. As the Horizon scanners penetrated deeper into the planet's crust, strange interference began disrupting their equipment. Electronic signals flickered, computer screens momentarily blurred, and for a split second, a complex mathematical equation appeared and then vanished. Hyun looked up, his eyes wide. "Did you see that?" Jay nodded, her heart racing. Whatever was down there was not just waiting, it was communicating. The ship's landing protocols were initiated with precision. Specialized robotic probes were deployed first, scanning the rocky terrain for any potential hazards. Each probe moved like a mechanical spider, collecting data and transmitting it back to the ship's central computer. Hours passed. The team remained focused, consuming nutrient packets and switching shifts, their excitement growing with each new piece of information. The planet seemed to be revealing itself slowly, like a book being read page by page. Wu's geological instruments began showing something extraordinary. The rock formations weren't completely natural. They had been engineered, subtly shaped by something or someone with advanced technological capabilities. "These aren't random formations," Wu explained, displaying 3D models of the terrain. "Look at the symmetry, the precise angles. This is artificial." Jay understood immediately. They weren't just looking at a dead planet. They were looking at something that had been deliberately constructed, perhaps as a message or a test. As the first human-designed rover touched the planet's surface, something unexpected happened. The ground seemed to respond. Minute electrical currents rippled through the rocks, creating intricate patterns that lasted mere milliseconds. "We're being watched," Hyun said quietly. The discovery was about to change everything they knew about space, technology, and humanity's place in the universe. But they didn't know that yet. Right now, they were just 5 researchers on the edge of something incredible, their breath held in collective anticipation. The horizon hung in space, a tiny beacon of human curiosity against the infinite darkness, waiting to unravel a mystery that had been waiting millennia to be discovered. The rover moved across the rocky surface, its mechanical wheels leaving precise tracks in the gray dust. Inside the horizon, Jay and her team watched every movement carefully. Wu controlled the machine's path, his fingers dancing across the control panel with practiced precision. Suddenly, something glinted in the rover's camera feed. A crystalline structure, unlike anything they had ever seen before, emerged from the rocky terrain. It wasn't just a rock or a mineral formation. This was something different. "Stop," Jay commanded. "Zoom in." The crystal looked like it had been perfectly carved, its edges too smooth to be natural. It reflected light in impossible ways, creating rainbow-like patterns that seemed to shift and change with each second. Hyun leaned closer to the screen. It's not just reflecting light. It's processing something. As if responding to his words, the crystal began to pulse with a soft blue light. The rover's sensors went crazy, recording massive amounts of data that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Wu reached out and activated the rover's specialized sampling arm. Carefully, slowly, the mechanical arm extended towards the crystal. The moment it made contact, everything changed. A holographic projection erupted from the crystal, filling the ship's observation deck with complex mathematical equations, stellar maps, and strange geometric symbols. The team sat frozen, their mouths open in complete shock. "This is no archaeological find," Jay whispered. "This is a message." The holographic display moved like a living thing, equations flowing and changing, star charts rotating and expanding. It was as if the crystal was alive, communicating through pure information. Hyun began capturing the data, his fingers flying across multiple screens. Some of the mathematical equations were so complex they seemed to defy human understanding. Others looked like advanced quantum mechanics mixed with something entirely alien. "These aren't just random numbers," Wu said, analyzing the projections. "These are instructions. Blueprints for something." Hours passed. The team worked without rest, capturing every fragment of information. The crystal continued to pulse, releasing more and more data. It was like discovering an entire library written in a language they were just beginning to understand. One particular set of equations caught Jay's attention. It seemed to describe a method of energy transfer that was completely impossible by current human scientific standards. Yet the math was perfect, each calculation flowing into the next with incredible precision. The ship's computer struggled to process the massive amount of information. Cooling systems worked overtime, and several backup servers had to be activated to handle the load. "We're not just looking at technology," Jay said to her team. "We're looking at something that challenges everything we know about physics, about the universe itself." As night fell inside the horizon, the crystal's projection continued. Star charts showed connections between galaxies, mathematical formulas suggested methods of faster-than-light communication, and strange diagrams hinted at technologies beyond human imagination. Hyun noticed something else. The crystal wasn't just sending information. It was adapting. Each time they tried to analyze a section, the holographic display would slightly change, as if it was learning from their attempts to understand it. "It's intelligent," he said softly. "This isn't just a recording. This is something alive." The team worked through the night, their excitement growing with each new discovery. They had found something more than just an alien artifact. They had found a key to understanding the universe in a way no human had ever done before. As the first light of their ship's artificial morning began to glow, the crystal gave one final pulse. For a brief moment, everything went silent. Then, a single message appeared in their language. "We have been waiting." The universe suddenly felt much larger, and much smaller, all at the same time. The research facility in Geneva buzzed with unprecedented energy. Jay's team had been working non-stop for months, slowly decoding the crystal's information. Government representatives from around the world watched nervously as the first practical applications began to emerge. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a renowned quantum physicist, carefully manipulated a small device constructed from the alien blueprints. Her hands trembled slightly. What they were about to demonstrate could change everything humans understood about technology. "The energy conversion rate is impossible," whispered Hyun, reviewing the calculations for the 100th time. The device could generate more energy from a single gram of material than entire nuclear power plants. It was clean, silent, and seemingly magical. Wu had been working on medical applications. Early tests showed remarkable results. Damaged human cells could now regenerate at speeds that defied previous scientific understanding. A small cut could heal completely in seconds. More complex injuries showed even more promising results. The first public demonstration was carefully planned. World leaders gathered in a secure facility, their eyes fixed on the experimental platform. Jay stood beside the device, her heart racing. With a simple press of a button, the room filled with a soft blue light. Complex energy patterns danced around the device, creating holographic projections that showed intricate molecular restructuring. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The medical team brought forward a test subject, a volunteer with a severe spinal injury. Previous treatments had shown minimal improvement. Now, everything was about to change. As the device activated, the room went silent. Tiny nanoscale machines, derived from the alien crystal's information, began repairing neural connections. The patient's body glowed with a soft light, muscles and nerve endings rebuilding themselves in real time. Minutes passed. The patient, who had been paralyzed for years, slowly moved his fingers. Then his hand. Then his entire arm. Complete silence. Then thunderous applause. Global communication networks lit up. News spread faster than anyone could have imagined. This wasn't just a medical breakthrough. This was a complete redefinition of human potential. Energy production changed overnight. Entire countries switched to the new technology within weeks. Pollution began to decrease. Climate change projections were dramatically revised. The impossible was becoming possible. But not everyone was happy. Powerful corporations that relied on old energy technologies began to panic. Political systems that depended on resource control found themselves rapidly becoming obsolete. The world was changing faster than anyone could have predicted. Jay understood the risks. During a private meeting with global leaders, she explained the potential and the dangers. This technology can save humanity, she said, or it can destroy us if we're not careful. The alien crystal had more than just technological information. It contained complex ethical guidelines, almost like a manual for responsible technological advancement. Some of the most brilliant minds on the planet worked to understand these principles. Governments began restructuring. Old economic models collapsed. New systems emerged that prioritized human potential over individual profit. Education changed completely, with learning becoming a lifelong, adaptive process. Hyun discovered something even more extraordinary. The technology seemed to have a strange effect on human cognition. People using the new systems reported increased mental clarity, enhanced problem-solving abilities, and a deeper sense of global connectivity. It's like the technology is teaching us, he told Jay one evening. Not just giving us tools, but showing us how to think differently. The breakthrough wasn't just technological. It was fundamentally changing what it meant to be human. As the first year of discovery came to a close, the world looked completely different. Clean energy powered entire continents. Medical miracles became everyday occurrences. Human potential seemed limitless. And yet, something remained hidden. The alien crystal still held secrets. The team knew they had only scratched the surface of what had been left behind. What else was waiting to be discovered? The universe suddenly felt both larger and more intimate than ever before. Humanity stood on the edge of a new era, with unknown possibilities stretching out before them. 5 years had passed since the initial discovery. The world looked nothing like it did before. Cities transformed, powered by clean energy that seemed to come from nowhere. Streets were filled with people who moved differently, more purposeful, more connected. Jay watched from her research center in Geneva as global networks displayed real-time information about planetary changes. Entire desert regions were now green. Oceans were cleaning themselves. Technologies derived from the alien crystal were rewriting the rules of possibility. Global governments had been forced to completely restructure. Traditional political systems collapsed within months of the technological breakthrough. A new form of collaborative governance emerged, where decisions were made through advanced algorithms that prioritized collective human welfare. In Africa, massive solar farms powered by quantum technologies transformed entire regions. Countries that were once struggling with energy and water scarcity now exported clean technology to the world. Children who once walked miles for water now had advanced learning centers and sophisticated medical facilities. Hyun had been instrumental in developing educational systems that used the new technology. Learning was no longer confined to classrooms. People could download complex skills directly into their cognitive networks. A person could learn multiple languages or advanced scientific concepts in weeks instead of years. The economic transformation was even more dramatic. Traditional money systems became obsolete. A new credit system based on individual and collective contribution replaced old monetary models. People were valued for their potential to create, solve problems, and contribute to human development. Medical breakthroughs happened almost daily. Diseases that were once considered incurable became simple treatments. Cancer, genetic disorders, and age-related deterioration were now manageable conditions. The average human lifespan increased by decades. Wu led a team that was exploring space using the new technologies. Spacecraft could now travel vast distances in weeks instead of years. The first human colonies on Mars were being established, with advanced life support systems that made survival not just possible, but comfortable. Environmental restoration became a global priority. Massive machines, designed using alien technological principles, began cleaning oceans, restoring forests, and balancing ecological systems. Species on the brink of extinction started recovering. But it wasn't all perfect. Some humans struggled with the rapid changes. Psychological support systems were developed to help people adapt. Not everyone could handle the sudden expansion of human potential. Mental health became a global priority, with advanced technologies helping people process and integrate the massive societal shifts. Religious and philosophical discussions transformed. The discovery challenged traditional beliefs about humanity's place in the universe. New spiritual movements emerged that integrated scientific understanding with deeper philosophical questions about existence. Jay understood the delicate balance. During a global conference, she warned about the risks of moving too quickly. "We must be careful," she told the assembled leaders. "This technology is a gift, but it can also be dangerous if we lose our humanity in the process." Her words resonated around the world. The alien technology wasn't just about machines and energy. It was about understanding connection, responsibility, and collective growth. Space exploration entered a new era. Communication networks now extended beyond Earth, with quantum communication systems allowing near-instantaneous contact across vast distances. Humanity was no longer confined to a single planet. The first signs of potential contact with other civilizations began to emerge. The alien crystal seemed to be preparing humans for something larger, something beyond their current understanding. As another day ended, Jay looked out over the transformed city. Buildings were alive with green technologies, people moved with a sense of purpose, and the air was cleaner than it had been in centuries. The world had changed. And this was just the beginning. Somewhere, hidden in the vast data networks, the alien crystal continued to pulse. Waiting. Watching. Guiding humanity's next steps into an unknown future. 10 years after the initial discovery, humanity stood at the edge of something extraordinary. The alien crystal had been more than just a technological gift. It was a test, a carefully designed pathway to cosmic understanding. Jay Park stood on the observation deck of the International Space Station, watching as the first deep space exploration vessel prepared for its most important mission. They were going to trace the origin of the mysterious civilization that had left behind the crystal. Han Kim, now leading the quantum communication research, had discovered something profound. The crystal wasn't just a piece of technology. It was a message, a deliberate invitation to join a larger cosmic community. "We were being evaluated," he explained during the mission briefing. "Every technological advancement, every ethical choice we made was part of their test." The mission carried representatives from every continent. No longer divided by old national boundaries, humanity now functioned as a single, unified entity. Scientists, philosophers, cultural experts, all working together to understand their place in the universe. The spacecraft used technologies that would have seemed impossible just a decade earlier. Quantum propulsion systems allowed them to travel vast distances in weeks. Energy systems drew power from the fabric of space itself. Communication networks could transmit information across light years in moments. As they approached the coordinates suggested by the crystal's data, something unexpected happened. Space itself seemed to change. Subtle shifts in electromagnetic patterns created complex geometric designs that danced around the ship. "We're being observed," Wu Li said quietly, monitoring the external sensors. The first contact was nothing like anyone had imagined. Instead of a dramatic alien encounter, they received a series of mathematical transmissions. Complex equations that told a story of cosmic evolution, of civilizations rising and falling, of a grand design far beyond human comprehension. The messages revealed that humanity's development had been carefully guided. The crystal was not just a random artifact, it was a deliberate intervention. Multiple advanced civilizations had been watching, waiting to see if humans could overcome their destructive tendencies and grow. Images began to form, not physical images, but conceptual understanding that filled their minds. They saw the history of intelligent life in the universe. Countless civilizations that had risen and fallen. Some destroyed themselves through war. Others through environmental collapse. A few had transcended their physical limitations. Humanity had passed a critical test. By choosing collective progress over individual gain, by using their new technologies to heal rather than destroy, they had proven themselves worthy of a larger cosmic conversation. The ship's crew experienced something beyond normal perception. Their consciousness expanded. They could understand complex universal principles that would have been incomprehensible before. The boundaries between individual and collective seemed to blur. Back on Earth, people felt the change. A sudden sense of connection, of purpose, swept across the planet. The old divisions of race, nationality, and ideology simply dissolved. Humanity was no longer just an Earth-based species. They were becoming something more. Scientific understanding transformed. The laws of physics they had known were revealed to be just a tiny fragment of a much larger reality. Space and time were not fixed concepts but fluid, malleable experiences. The mission's return was anticipated globally. Billions watched as the spacecraft approached Earth, carrying not just scientific data, but a fundamental shift in human understanding. Jay understood the true significance of their journey. This was not an end, but a beginning. Humanity was being invited to join a conversation that had been ongoing for millions of years. As the spacecraft landed, a new chapter of human existence began. They were no longer just observers of the universe. They were becoming active participants in a cosmic story far larger than anyone had ever imagined. The alien crystal had done its job. Humanity had passed the test. And the universe was waiting.